KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them. Whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury, San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday morning, July the 6th, 2021. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM here in San Juan County, New Mexico. 103.3 FM if you're listening in the Durango, Colorado area. And if you're anywhere else on Earth, you can listen at KSJE.com. And that includes having us play on your smart speaker. You should try it sometime. It's really cool. Great to see everyone out during the 4th of July holiday weekend. I was at the parade, of course, Sunday in downtown Farmington. Great to see everyone gathered for the Electric Light Parade and all the other events that were going on. So thank you for getting out and about. Today, coming up on the program, we're going to be talking about some of the things that make summer so special. It's our monthly commitment to CHIC here in San Juan County, which is the Community Health Improvement Council. KSJE has committed to airing a CHIC member once a month to talk about different things going on in our community, and today is no different. We are talking about the Buy Fresh, Buy Local program here in Northwest New Mexico. That talks about all the growers markets that are getting ready to go. This week is actually the first full week for growers markets and the upcoming local food summit. So we're going to give you all the details about these things coming up, how to eat healthier and find more locally grown fruits and vegetables. That's the focus this morning right here on KSJE. And on Tuesdays, of course, our focus is always on adoptable pets, and we'll be talking with Amber Francisco at 8:50 a.m. from the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter for our Adopt a Pet Tuesday segment. That is coming up today, and you'll see more about Brownie, who you can see pictures on the screen right now. We'll learn more about Brownie and much more of the pets that are available this week coming up at 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Mick Hess will take over, and he will be roving with the arts next hour here after the news at 9:06 a.m. this morning. Mick is playing music from the great Stravinsky on Roving with the Arts. And, of course, we invite you to connect with our Instagram page as well, in addition to following us on Twitter and subscribing to our YouTube channel and, of course, liking us on Facebook as well. Outside, it's sunshine and 71 degrees at the moment outside our studios here at San Juan College. We're expecting a sunny day today with some increasing clouds, as we have seen in the afternoons, and maybe a mountain shower or two. 94 for a high today in Farmington, 69 tonight. Mostly sunny skies, though, for the next several days. 93 tomorrow, 96 on Thursday, topping out at 99 on Friday and 98 degrees with a high on Saturday. Joining me this morning to talk a little bit about their efforts for an upcoming food summit here in San Juan County, part of our commitment to CHIC, the Community Health Improvement Council. Patience Williams is here in the studio with me this morning from the Buy Fresh, Buy Local program here in San Juan County. Welcome back in person to KSJE. Good to see you.
It's good to see you in person, Scott.
I know.
In Zoom, not just the top half of our bodies.
Right. But we still have a Zoom guest.
Yes, we do have
from
a Zoom
an exotic
guest.
Location.
Yes.
And that is one of our other favorite people,
yes.
And that is Bonnie Hopkins from the New Mexico State University Cooperative Extension Office, who is joining us remotely. Good morning, Bonnie. Good to you. Good morning.
And for being so flexible to let me join in by Zoom. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. That's why we have this technology, and we've gotten fairly good at it over the past 15 months. So, there you go. Not a problem. So it's great to have you both here to talk about this event that's coming up. And so, Patience, let's start with you and give us the details. They'll be here before we know it, right?
The details. I'm going to give you some of the details, and I'm going to send it on over to Bonnie.
Okay.
The Local Food Summit is kind of a brainchild of the efforts we put in 4 years ago for the Local Food, Local Places Technical Assistance Grant, which is a technical assistance grant put out by the EPA that we received. And during our community project, which was bringing together a bunch of community people on an action plan on what they see that the needs of our food systems in San Juan County are, came up with some amazing things, one of which is the food hub.
Right.
Another story there.
Right.
And then in celebration on the first anniversary, we decided let's make this something and commemorate, because so many good things have come out of this project. And we started the Local Food Summit, and this is our third Local Food Summit, but our fourth year with the Local Food, Local Places project.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have adopted the Buy Fresh, Buy Local, Northwest New Mexico Buy Fresh, Buy Local chapter, so it's all under that heading there.
Very good. And so, and Bonnie, talk to me a little bit about your involvement with this then. How does that involve the Cooperative Extension Service? I would think in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, we are incredibly blessed to have just a strong support system of agencies and community partners across the region to help us with our Buy Fresh, Buy Local projects, really helping to develop a regional food system. And so I work a lot with farmer training programs, and we are building out a farmer training program here at the Extension Office. Stay tuned for that. I'll be back to talk about that, I'm sure, in a couple of months when we get ready for our open house that's going to be at the end of August. So we're just working at the food system from all different angles. So Erin Havens works on the distribution side with the Food Hub. We do a lot of community organizing, which is really what the Local Food Summit is about. And it also gives us an opportunity to provide feedback on all of the efforts that we've been working on throughout the year. So this year, the summit is going to be held as a hybrid event because we found that Zoom really did allow us to not only reach incredible speakers, but to reach a broader audience. So we wanted to give people an opportunity to do both. So we are hosting a virtual lunch break conference. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. July 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's going to be hosted via Zoom, and we have some fantastic topics that we are going to be going over. The first day, our speakers that we have lined up are really going to be talking about connecting the legacy of agriculture in San Juan County to the next generation of farmers. So we're going to be talking about the projects that we have going. We're going to be hearing from some youth members in agriculture and what they think about the future of our agricultural system. And we're also going to have our membership meeting for our Buy Fresh, Buy Local chapter that day. On Wednesday, July 14th, we are going to be working with our equity task force, and the day's presentations are going to be on the community role in creating an equitable food system. So we've got some fantastic presentations lined up for that day as well. And then Thursday, we're going to wrap up the online conference with a day focusing on empowering community development through our local food system. And we are so excited about the local speakers that we have presenting that day. We hope that we are just going to energize the community to really vote with their dollars and really see how they make an impact on our community development. Later that evening, we're going to be having our third annual local food cook-off between local chefs using all local ingredients. That's going to be at the Downtown Makers Market from 5 to 7 p.m. We're also having an art walk in our Orchard Plaza in addition to the Makers Market downtown. So downtown is going to be hopping. It's going to be the busiest day downtown has seen since the remodel. So we are excited about that. And then on Friday, July 16th, we are going to do a countywide farm tour. So we are going to be starting at the Food Hub and doing a quick Food Hub tour from 8 to 8:30. Then we'll load up on the buses and head to Navajo Ethno-Agriculture, which is probably one of the most exciting projects I have seen happening in our community. Gloria and Harry Lane are really traditional Navajo farmers in our area, and they actually teach a class at Navajo Technical University, and they have students come out and work on the farm, and it is an educational farm to teach people traditional Navajo growing methods. So we will start there, and then we will head to Kirby Orchard and learn about the largest commercial orchard in San Juan County and talk about the history and the legacy of their family and the orchard. Then we'll head out to GCI Farms in Bloomfield, which is a new age farm. They are doing all kinds of production out there. They've got a U-Pick sweet corn operation that we're excited to tour, and they're also growing industrial hemp, and they've got a ton of great stuff in the greenhouse. Once we pack up there, we're going to have a local food lunch and head to Lavender on the San Juan River, tour the lavender field and their production facilities where they are really making all of their lavender products that they sell. And we'll end the day at Wines of the San Juan in the shade by the river and kind of cool off and relax before we head back to the food hub at about 4 o'clock.
Well, that sounds like somebody really planned that out very well.
There's one more.
Yes,
The last
sorry.
of the summit is going to be the actual ribbon cutting and grand opening of the food hub, and we'll have a local food fair at the food hub at 310 West Animas Street in downtown from 5:30 to 8 p.m. So we invite participants to register now. The conference during lunch is free, but we do have a lot of other things that you can choose to participate in. We are raffling off one of the judges' seat for the local food cook-off. So this is something we've never done before.
Right.
And I've always wanted a chance to judge, but it's like, that's a conflict of interest, right? I can't make myself a judge, but I can buy a bunch of raffle tickets, Scott.
There you go.
So the raffle tickets are $5, and you can pay for them when you register for the local food summit. You can also choose to become a member of Buy Fresh Buy Local, our Northwest New Mexico chapter, and receive a Buy Fresh Buy Local tote bag with your membership enrollment this year. You're only going to get the tote bag when you register at the local food summit.
Okay.
And then if you want to go on the farm tours, those are $40, but the space is limited on those. So we do recommend that folks register as quickly as possible. And they can just go to our website, find us on social media, Buy Fresh Buy Local, Northwest New Mexico, and we're just going to be inundating everyone with the registration links all over the place.
Okay, but we can find them on all those places that you mentioned, right?
Yes.
To be able to do that. And so, wow, that's a lot of stuff packed into just a few days. And we'll come back to you in just a moment, Bonnie, to talk more about those specific kind of things that you're doing during the conference. I want to ask you a bit more about those. But Patience, let me turn to you a little bit about this whole idea of getting folks together to learn more about what we're doing with local food and the whole food hub. And I was proud to be part of the soft opening of the market on East Animas, and so West Animas. I did that day too, and it's great to see it. I think after all these quick, not too many years of planning, it's really come across very quickly. Actually, we talked about that too.
It has. You know, when we did our community project with the original Local Food, Local Places. Because they encourage us, you know, write down your dream big. What would you like to see 5, 10, 15 years down the line? And we're like, a food hub.
Right.
You know, and that was 5 to 10 year plan.
Not 2.
Not 2.
Or 3, right?
Well, you know, 2, we did the opening last year and ran it out of San Juan College, and then 3 for a brick and mortar building. Really unheard of. And that just comes back to our community support from the ground up. We have people that are on the ground, you know, in the dirt, everything else, to our community leaders. And
I was just going to, pardon me for interrupting, but I was just going to say, too, the cooperation of different entities from the college to your organization to the city of Farmington. I mean, it took a lot of folks to make this happen.
Exactly. And that is, when you just look at it from a whole, if you kind of stand back and look, and it's like, wow, you know, our entire county supports the food system. And we know that there's gaps, and that's the thing, is like we can honestly be like, there are gaps in the food system, but this is how we go to fill those gaps. And when we have the cooperation and support, huge support from entities all the way up to our state legislators. So it is an amazing, amazing feat. And just to bring everyone together in that celebration and to learn more, because you know, a lot of people don't know that this is all going on, you know, from our farmers markets, growers markets, you know, to, you know, maybe having fresh produce in the grocery stores, our farm to school program, Marie Johnson, shout out to her, the new president of the food service. So that is huge, in getting all the fresh food into the schools and early childhood development, senior centers, hospitals. there's so much going on in local foods, and this is just really to bring people together and celebrate that.
Right. And these are the steps that we take, you
Right.
take, we all take to get to that point, right?
Right.
And you mentioned identifying those gaps, and I think that, or at least knowing where the gaps are, and that's really important too, I guess, so that everyone's not just growing the same thing. That, I was surprised to see mushrooms
Right.
at the market.
They're wonderful.
I know, and and flowers and just other things that maybe you wouldn't think would be grown in mass quantities here that are starting, and there's a market for those, and there's a place to sell them now.
Exactly, there is a market, and when you ask any of our food service directors and nutritionists throughout all the different entities in San Juan County, they'll take anything.
Right.
And we've called it our speed dating with our farmers and our buyers the last 2 years, and we actually, the state of New Mexico put one on.
Okay,
Kind of
right.
took our model and went with it.
Nice.
And did it at a state level also. And because we do need to find out, we don't want all the farmers just growing one thing, but they need to know what the demand is, and we say get a wish list. And so we have the schools, hospitals, early childhood, senior centers being like, this is what we would buy if we had the access to it. Handed it to the farmers, and the farmers like, okay, well,
Now we
great,
know.
we didn't know
Yeah.
that you would buy mushrooms or radishes. And of course radishes are the new everything right now because
Evidently,
Oh,
right?
have you ever had radishes as hash browns?
No,
I have.
No, this is
it's
interesting.
Yummy.
Okay,
You fry them like you would hash browns, grate
Right.
them up, and they're pretty magical.
Bonnie, this is this a thing?
I can confirm they are a low carb hash brown.
Wow,
They are good.
Okay, you
and
heard it here first or second, everybody.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So it is great, and the relationship that our purchasers have with our farmers is just getting better. And then we have the food access part of it, making sure that our high-risk population and communities have that access. And we can touch a little bit on like the double up food bucks at the market where,
Right.
You swipe your EBT card for $20 and you get $40 to spend at the market. You don't get that at the grocery store. You get that
Right.
fresh produce.
And I still think there are people that don't know about that.
Right.
That need to. So if I know somebody that is on that program,
Mm-hmm.
I need to let them know that because I think a lot of folks think that, well, if I go to the growers market, it's more expensive and my dollars won't go as far.
Right.
But if you suddenly double your dollars, guess what?
Right.
I would think they go much further.
They go much further because, the double up food bucks, they can on fresh produce, but also like a tomato plant.
Yeah.
You said you see the plants at the growers market right now. There's a lot of plants, because we're not super hard into the produce
season, yeah.
right? But you can buy a tomato plant with that because it's producing.
Right.
And so
there's
it
no
is-
greater sense of achievement than growing your own tomato.
I have
Let me
a
tell
red
you.
tomato in my garden.
Do
I took
you?
a picture
Are
last
you guarding
night.
it day and night?
I am like, it's almost totally red. So
Good for
no,
you.
those are the programs, and that is
Wonderful.
when it really comes to food access and getting that education, that information out there, because there are people that didn't know. I have, people in my family that are on the EBT program, and they had no idea that program existed.
Right.
So just getting that word out and making sure that, and then they have transportation access, and with the food hub being down on West Animas, and we have the mobile food market.
Right.
So there's so many different aspects of it, and really trying to get the food where it's needed.
And remind us if the Double Up Food Buck program, is that just at the Farmington market, or is it able to be expanded throughout the markets here in the county?
So I know, Bonnie, and you're going to have to chime in on this one. I know we have Farmington, Kirtland, Aztec,
And Shiprock.
and Shiprock are all part of the
Okay.
Double Up Food Buck program. I think Bloomfield is coming on.
Bloomfield will probably come on next year, so
Okay.
it is a tremendous undertaking.
Yeah, there's a lot of
to
hoops
get
to
that program,
jump through,
and
isn't there?
then- And then to keep it going, it takes a lot of effort, and because it's a federal program, it just takes a lot of organization. So we're hoping to get Bloomfield on next year, and then also the food hub next year.
Okay.
So those are projects that we're continuing to work on, but the deadline to get those submitted, I think, was early April.
Gotcha.
But we were able to get it at 4 markets. And we remind people that even if you got your tokens last year, we can still accept them.
Right.
So the tokens don't expire. So if you find some tokens at your house and you want to come use them at the market, they are still valid and we will still take them. We have a cooperative arrangement with all of the markets. So Sometimes we'll get some of Shiprock's tokens in Farmington and vice versa, and we just work together as market managers and directors to make sure that those get where they need to go. So don't let that stop you from getting healthy food to your family.
Good point, and I think that's great, and another example of just how well everybody works together here, because I would think that maybe doesn't always happen in other communities with different markets. So,
Correct.
Great job with the market managers who are working together to make that happen. Bonnie, I wanted to come back to you and talk a bit about the summit and some of the things that you had mentioned that you're going to be talking about, and we'll show those again: the legacy of agriculture and the next generation of farmers, and of course Farmington and Bloomfield and all those places that we know and love have great histories when it comes to growing and farming. And so is that some of the things you'll be talking about on Tuesday the 13th?
Yeah. So we are going to be hearing from a woman named Amy Gibbons. She is a phenomenal food service director that works with Marie Johnson, and she's going to be talking about planting the seed and engaging students in local food systems. And so she has a phenomenal presentation that we're all really looking forward to, of just how do we motivate the kids in our community to really become key players in our food system and little, we call them activists.
I like it.
Little activists for agriculture.
Right.
And so what does that look like in our community? So we'll really kick the day off with that.
Okay.
And then we have some great commercial breaks built into the virtual conference, because we have learned after a year of doing this that it's really hard to stay engaged for a long period of time. So we are going to have a little commercial break about all of the books available at our local library around local food system and water, and they've have a great selection of books that they're going to be talking about that are available at the library.
Great.
After Amy, we will be hearing from Wes Medlock. He is our New Farmer Network coordinator here in San Juan County, and he's going to be talking about overcoming some of those barriers to land and water access that are really facing the next generation of farmers. So, it used to be that you farmed because your parents farmed or because your family had land, and that's just not what we're seeing in today's reality. And so land access looks a lot different than it used to. And so he'll be talking about his system that we have here at the Extension Office and our Land Link and Work Link program that we are getting off the ground. And then also our new farmer training program that we are starting here at the Extension Office. So we're excited to hear from Wes. And then we'll have a little yoga break, do a little bit of stretching, and we'll wrap up the day with kind of the history of farming in our area and kids growing with traditional Navajo growing practices with Brandon Francis from New Mexico State University. And we will have our first ever Northwest New Mexico Buy Fresh, Buy Local membership meeting, where we will elect steering committee members and go over bylaws and all of those details, because we have made huge strides in our chapter and in our community. And so we want to make it official with some policies in place on how we will operate. So
very good.
That's going to be Tuesday, July 13th.
Right.
And then going into Wednesday, the 14th, the community role in creating an equitable food system. We're going to start the morning off with an update on recent legislation around food access and food sovereignty in New Mexico and the work that still needs to be done, so kind of a call to action. Then we are going to be hearing from Denisa Livingston. She is a wonderful community member that does a lot of stuff with slow food across the world, really. And she's going to be talking about our global ecosystem. Then Kyle Jim is going to be speaking about bridging traditional foods to empower communities and really the ego in local food. Where does the motivation for local food really come from, and having that conversation. Then we will hear from one of our Navajo farmers at Ben Family Farms, and they're going to be talking about the healthy future of farming in our area. And wrapping up with a panel of community conversations around an equitable food system. So they'll have a great panel of all of those speakers put together to really hear about what does an equitable food system look like in our community.
Right. And that was going to be one of my questions to you, was that term equitable food system, because it sounds like there was a lot of thought maybe put into the language used there, and a lot of folks may think, well, I live in Farmington, I have access to 7 different grocery stores if I need to, and growers markets and other things like that. But it gets a little deeper than that, doesn't it?
It does get a little bit deeper. And, an equitable food system is defined by people in a lot of different ways. And I think that that's really part of the reason why we have that conversation is to figure out that what an equitable food system looks like to one person may be different, but they can both be very valuable in finding solutions. And so it really does start with just having that conversation and really looking at numbers. I think we have an alarming number of food insecurity in our children and then also with our elderly in San Juan County. And we may have access to grocery stores, but does that mean that everyone can get there? Are there transportation barriers? Are there financial limitations? It's just a really complex system that we really need to dig deep and find some solutions for. And really think about the people that are not being considered and how we can do better as community members to really get them not just food, but healthy, nutritious food that's really going to make a difference.
Right. And I think we do know of communities in our county, too, that are maybe 30 miles from a grocery store or things like that, but they're 5 miles from a convenience store, but that's maybe not the same thing. Nothing against a convenience store. They're great on road trips and things like that, but maybe not the place to go for healthy food that we're talking about today.
Correct. And, I know we do see a lot of that in San Juan County that, kids get on the bus or they come to school and their breakfast is hot Cheetos and a soda.
On the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is painful for me. In all of our schools, one of the things they're pushing, and we're waiting for the signature in the legislature right now, is for all the schools to be 100% free and reduced. Every child.
Right.
No kid will have to pay for their lunches from here on out. And so we're really hoping that gets passed in New Mexico, because it is. We have so many of our students and kids in San Juan County that most of their food, like the majority of their food, comes from the schools, and breakfast and lunch.
Right.
So.
And we saw that during the pandemic, I think, of how important the school districts felt it was to load up those school buses with food and send them out on the routes to these families, right? To make sure that they were getting food to those homes.
Yes, and Marie Johnson with Farmington Schools had put in for a grant and was able to feed, I think, Bonnie, didn't she say 2 million meals over the course of the pandemic? And it was amazing. And it was not just Farmington school students. It was any child in San Juan County. They could come to one of the locations and be fed.
Right.
And that is huge, and that's one reason, Amy, she's probably one of our biggest champions with that and getting the fresh local food into our schools, onto those bus programs. Right now they're doing the summer lunch program, and same thing, she was one of the biggest customers to the farm or the food hub last year, getting the fresh local food into the kids' mouth. So,
really important. And if you don't have children, you may not realize just how big of a deal this is.
Right. And, we're working on early childhood development programs right now, and also our senior centers, because, as we've always said, a lot of the people in our senior centers are the ones that used to grow their own food. And so for them to have that nutritious local food back in their diets, but it's like, how do we find the others that aren't able in some of these programs and really get deeper into our community?
Very true. Very true. Let me go back to the schedule for this virtual and in-person series on coming up July 15th, 16th in Farmington. And the other topic I wanted to ask you about, both of you, and Bonnie chime in, is the empowering community development through our local food system, and just say a few words about that session on Thursday for us.
Sure. So our lunch session on Thursday, July 15th, starting at 11 a.m. is going to be titled Empowering Community Development Through Our Local Food System. And again, we have phenomenal local speakers lined up for that. We're going to be hearing from Donna Thatcher about the historical connection to our food system. I love to listen to Donna talk. She is the director of the Nature Center for the city of Farmington, and so she's got some great historical facts about really the evolution of our food system and where it was and where it is now. Then we are going to hear from Arvin Trujillo, and he is with Four Corners Economic Development, and he's going to be talking about how buying local really impacts community development. So what are the after effects of buying local and keeping your dollars local? How can you make the most impact with your decisions? And then wrapping up the day, Jamie Church is going to be speaking and really engaging everyone. I'm so excited for Jamie to wrap up the conference. And she's going to be talking about community connections to local food and where all of those partners come from and how it looks when we really build each other up. When we're shopping at independently owned restaurants, and that independently owned restaurant can then support another farmer, and really it creates this multiplier effect that really creates something very special in our community. So we've also got some great little virtual tours of the food hub and the farmers markets that will be built in through little commercials, but we are very excited to just have folks spend their lunch with us, join as they can. They do need to register, but attending the virtual conferences is absolutely free. And they can just join from their computer, or they can set up a watch party. I know we'll all be watching together in a few locations, and so we're looking forward to that. But we hope we can get a lot of community participation and just really start to have these conversations and continue the work, because like Patience said, when we set these goals of building a farmer training program, having agricultural learning centers, building the food hub, getting a mobile market, these were all 10-year goals. And here we are 2 or 3 years later, and we're like, oh man, I guess we need to dream bigger. And so that's really our call to action for the conference, is to come and sit at the table and help us dream bigger about what we want our food system and community to look like. Because with the support that we have in this community, there really isn't anything that's not, everything is possible. We really have limitless potential in our community simply because everyone is willing to come together and work together and build each other up. So we want to know what's next.
Great to hear. Well, it's wonderful. And to have folks like both of you kind of working to plan and lead us in this direction is exciting as well. And to see how much has been accomplished in such a short amount of time is just amazing to me, who was sitting here, I think, in the same chair when you were telling me about these great plans. I'm like, well, great, if it happens, that'll be fun. And then here we are. It's happened. And now they're thinking of the next phase and what's next. So.
Right. Yeah, you've been with us since the very beginning.
Right.
When we just started talking about
Well, I've been around a long time.
Just the local food,
Yeah.
local places, workshop there. So
exciting. So again, we can register from your Facebook page, from the website.
And you can go to the, Bonnie, it's the San Juan County NMSU extension, correct?
No, we're going to go to Buy Fresh, Buy Local,
Okay.
NWNM.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You're not getting it from our local food, or from our Facebook pages or Instagram. You can just go to Buy Fresh, Buy Local, NWNM.org.
Very good. And again, these are designed to be kind of covered between 11 and 1 during the lunch hour, if you will, or expanded lunch hour, but
Right.
you can get in and get out, and that's kind of the idea for folks who maybe can't be there and just want to join virtually.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, all of our amazing things starting Thursday evening,
Right.
bleeding on into Friday. And then, of course, don't forget we do have our Farmington Growers Market on Saturday that everyone can momentum that
Yes.
we fed throughout the whole week.
Exactly.
Go to the farmers market on Saturday and buy.
Very true. And if I'm a business or a bigger entity, a restaurant, maybe ramping back up now that we're reopening
Right.
as of last week, July 1st, all these things are possible, right? To maybe reach out and get some locally grown food into my kitchen.
Absolutely. And, you contact Erin Havens with the Harvest Food Hub. She takes care of that middleman. So when you're not having to call each individual farmer, you can still,
Right.
never, ever, ever doubt that relationship with the
Sure.
farmer. But Erin, if you're time crunch and don't have the people, which we know that so much is understaffed right now,
Right.
that you can just call up Erin Havens at the Harvest Food Hub, and she acts as that middleman for you, and we'll get that fresh produce into your restaurant, into your customers. Because, I know when we travel, you look for those small locally owned places, and if you can see a sign on the window that's saying, we provide local fresh produce, local fresh food, meat, everything, I'll stop there.
Right.
So.
Well, I've always said it's got to be a marketing add to be able to promote yourself that way.
Absolutely.
And that's what I would hope that all our local restaurants who are doing it take it into account. So
Yep.
makes perfect sense. Well, thank you both for being with me. Bonnie, thank you for joining us from your location and taking some time out of your day to join us today.
Yes, thank you so much. I can't wait to be back in person when I'm not right in the middle of the growing season.
I understand priorities, and that's okay. We're here when you're ready, so we'll look forward to seeing you back here in the studio as things allow. So thank you very much. Patience, thank you for coming in and talking with me a little bit about the program that you do and the whole efforts to maybe grow this whole mechanism, right? The whole environment.
Absolutely.
Ecosystem.
Absolutely. And healthy kids, healthy communities. San Juan County, we have 13 counties. And so we're doing this across the state. And thank goodness for San Juan County Partnership, who housed my grant and the support there. So we've
Very
got
true.
it.
Well, and again, this is all a part of our commitment to CHIC, and that's another big part of this as well, this healthy
Absolutely.
community. So great to have you both here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Scott.
Anytime. Thanks so much. My guests here on KSJE. KSJE is supported by Sandstone Productions, bringing live theater back this summer. Saturday, August 7th at 7:30 p.m., Artrageous, the troupe of artists, dancers, and musicians, featuring the Artrageous Splatter Station, making one-of-a-kind wearable art. Find out more online at fmtn.org/splatter.